Hey, it's Jen Thoden with YourColorStyle.com, and in this video, I'm going to share with you the common terms that you hear throughout the color analysis world. Let's start out with the words bright or soft. You hear me say this a lot in your color style, but you also see it in descriptions of different color types in other systems as well. So what does this mean? This has to do with the chroma. Chroma means the clarity of a color. The more pure it is, the brighter the chroma, and the more muted it is, it's the softer the chroma. And so therefore you get those words bright or soft. So when you're looking at a color, like in this example here, you've got the true red in the center. There's nothing else added to it. There's no gray added to it, a complement to soften it. It's a true chroma, so it is bright. And as you add in gray, for example, or even its complement on the color wheel, if you're mixing paint, you're going to dull it, mute it, soften it. And so the grayer the color starts to look, the softer it is. And so that's what that means when you see bright or soft. When you hear the word bright or see the word bright, other words that mean the same thing that you might see in other systems, clear, pure, and high intensity. You're going to hear me talk about that a lot in your color style. When I say someone has high intensity, it means they have a lot of brightness, or they can handle a lot of brightness in the colors that they can wear. Here's a couple examples of people who have bright in their coloring that would be described as someone who is bright and can wear bright colors. It can be bright hair, it can be bright sparkly blue eyes, and it can also be bright white hair. Okay, so those are some examples. For soft, you might also hear words like muted, toned, dusty, and low intensity. The softer the color, the less intense it is. These are the same colors you might actually describe the person when you're doing color analysis. So someone who can wear softer, more muted colors may have softer coloring about them. Here's a couple of examples of people that are soft, that look better in the softer colors. The gray blend can soften you, soft gray blue eyes. Those are qualities of soft. Then we have terms like light, medium, or deep. And this refers to the value of a color, how light, medium, or dark it is. So in this example, you see the true red in the center, just like I've shown you before. When you add white to that color, you are lightening it, okay? It's a tint of that color. And when you add black to the color, it darkens it. That's the value of the color. So other words you might see out there, tinted. When you see the word tinted, it means light. Individuals that are also considered light, that means that they also can wear the lighter colors probably better. They may have light hair, skin, and eyes. You'll see this in examples where either it's cool, warm, and even on the right, you have a very light white, gray, light skin, light eyes. These individuals are light. Then you have dark, and you'll see other words like deep or shaded. And individuals like this are considered deep. You have dark eyes, dark hair. The skin isn't necessarily dark. You have a nice wide range here, but that's what deep means. And they can wear those deep colors as well. Now, there's no real equivalent to the word medium out there in color analysis. It's not necessarily unique to your color style, but I do use medium in my color types because not everyone fits in this perfect little bucket of light or dark. A lot of people are right there in the middle, and they need that medium range. When you combine value and chroma, you get an infinite number of tints and shades. So you can see there's just a wide variety of versions of one single color. So you have a hue of true red, and you can lighten it to a pastel pink. You can mute it to a gray dusty pink. You can add black to make a deep maroon. And then you can also mute that and soften it up and have these really pink quality grays down here at the bottom. So the possibilities are endless for just one hue. And that's what makes color analysis a little bit challenging sometimes, because individuals can fit into the same type of range from light to dark and from bright to soft. A pro tip here is that adding white or black will also soften the color. So you may have a bright, true red that you know that you might be able to wear brighter colors best, but the brightest color is still too strong for you. Well, you don't necessarily have to add gray to soften a color. You can simply just add white to it to kill the edge on that intensity and just soften it a little bit. And the same with black. And that also softens the color a little bit. So when we say soft, it could just be a lighter version of that color. It could be a deeper version of that color, and not necessarily just adding gray. We also have warm or cool. This is the temperature of the color. So you hear things like cool undertones, warm undertones, neutral undertones, and that has a lot to do with the types of colors that are going to look best on you. So when you're thinking about the temperature of a color, we're looking at whether or not the color is warm or cool. So here's the color wheel. This is for the bright colors. And you can see that on the left are all the colors that are considered cool. They go from cool pinks to blue, to purple to blue, to those teals and blue greens to green, and then tipping over into the warm side of the color wheel. And all the colors on the right side of the color wheel are considered warm colors. So as a general rule of thumb, if you have cool undertones, the colors on the left side of the color wheel are going to look best on you. And if you have warm undertones, the colors on the right side of the color wheel are going to look best on you. Now, there are rules here that we break all the time when it comes to color analysis, but this just kind of gives you a general idea. The things to understand about how the spectrum works in the color wheel: you have your primary colors, right? You have your red, your true yellow, and your blue. Now, when you're looking at the colors between red and yellow, these are your warmest colors. And anything in between is typically going to look only good on someone with warm undertones, okay? Someone with cool undertones, for the most part, is not going to look good in these colors that are in between the red and the yellow. Another way of thinking about this is every time you add yellow or red to a color, it's going to warm it up. So these are basically the hottest colors here because they are a combination of red and yellow and all the way through here. As you get past red going to the left, you are now adding blue to it to tip yourself over into the cool side of the color wheel. So anytime you add blue to a color, you are cooling it off. All right. Now, this is why there's always a little bit of a fuzziness sometimes between a color that might feel a little on the cool side but still looks good on someone with warm undertones. It's because it maybe just a little bit of blue is added, but not enough to make it so cool that it doesn't look good on them. And the same on this side too. When you've got yellow and you add a little bit of blue to it, you are now you're adding blue and you are cooling off that yellow. It's going to start turning green and going into the cool side of the color wheel. A lot of people assume that green is a warm color, but it's really kind of a neutral color. It's a perfect balance of yellow and blue. Blue is cool, yellow is warm, and green is really a warm version of blue and a cool version of yellow. And it's kind of a neutral color that looks good on most people. All right. When you add more yellow to green, you start to warm it up and you start to tip over into the warm side of the color wheel. So these are all rules of thumb and to help you understand when we say warm or cool. This is a true red here from light to dark. And then when we add yellow to it, you can see how those colors warm up into going into orange. And if you add blue, you can see how it starts to cool down over on the right-hand side. So warm means that you're adding yellow or red. And when you're looking at individuals, they're going to have those same qualities in their coloring to consider them warm. Now, here's just a few examples. We have warm, orangey, orange qualities in hair. We have warm green eyes, and we have a golden quality in the skin on the right. Okay, so those are warm individuals that will look good in warm colors. Cool means you're adding blue to a color to cool it down. Individuals that look good in those cool colors are going to have cool undertones. You might see blue in their eyes. You might see a little bit of blue in the skin and in the hair. Okay, and on the right-hand side here, this is an individual with olive skin tones. You have a little bit of green under the skin, and that's also considered cool undertones. Okay, it feels neutral because remember I just explained that green is a neutral color. Olive skin tones are going to feel neutral, but you may discover that those golden colors between the between the yellow and the red aren't going to look great. So there you have it. Those are the key terms of color analysis, and I hope that helps you figure out what colors look best on you. If you're struggling to figure out what colors really flatter you, take the quiz out on yourcolorstyle.com. It's at yourcolorstyle.com/quiz. It'll walk you through step by step on how you can figure out what colors flatter you best. Thanks for watching. I'm Jen Thoden.